Hey, we're back at it again.
We're back. We're back. It seems like we're in about a 2 week cycle here,
It
TCAT.
feels like it, man. Just getting schedules lined up and different things going on for sure.
Oh yeah,
So, but
yes, sir.
while we've been away for a couple weeks, we've been brainstorming some options for Real Fine by Me, and we were going to try something new today. Um, we have been kind of telling the story of these movies that we're reviewing. So, with whatever we get today, I think we're just going to kind of examine it more in depth instead of giving you all the storyline. If you like this movie, then you've probably already watched it and know what happens. So I don't think you
Yeah.
need us telling you every detail, right? We can hit the funny parts if there are any, the serious parts or whatever. So um, we're gonna work this out. If it don't work, we may go back. Who knows? We may go back to the other ones.
We
So
may just come back and just start showing the whole movie and just talking
that's
over it.
right.
Who
Just
knows?
talk over it, like
You get a,
Mystery Science Theater 3000 style.
yeah, you get an hour and a half episode or a 3 hour episode, depending on the
Depending
movie.
on what movie we got. So why don't we find out what we got in store for today? We'll spin that wheel,
Spin
see what
that
happens.
wheel. Spin that wheel.
Wolf of Wall Street.
The Wolf of
Man,
Wall Street. Another Martin Scorsese film.
man, another Leo film with Martin
It is.
Scorsese, right? So,
Well, I
uh,
will say that whenever we compile this list, I'm a big LDC fan, so we probably are pretty Leo heavy on our wheel.
yeah, I do like Leo as well. I like his acting style for sure. So,
So
all
let's
right,
get
well
right into it, man.
let's watch this thing, come back and talk about it.
Yo, it's Josh and T-Cat. Best believe that. Reeling in the truth. Stacking on the film snack. Popcorn popping. Critics keep talking. On this podcast, ain't no time for stalking. Real fine by me, we keeping it free. Josh and T-Cat, the hosts you wanna see. Movie reviews, jokes that ain't new. Keep it locked in, cause we know what to do. Lights, camera, action, movie main attraction. Critics we ain't, but we got that passion. Breaking down the scenes, funny like memes. Josh and T-Cat, man, living the dream.
3 hours later,
Oh, dude, I forgot how long that movie
man,
was.
watching this thing the first time, um, I didn't realize it was that long. It plays really well for a three
Yeah.
hour movie. Um, but
The first time you watch it,
the
and
first
then
time
you're
you
like,
watch it,
then
yeah,
you watch it again, you're like, man, this movie is
it's good
long.
though, right? So,
He lives a lot of lifetimes in that 3 hour movie.
yeah. So, what's your first impressions when you remember watching this thing? So,
If I could give you three words that describe Wolf of Wall Street that just come right to head, I
yeah,
think
do
of
it
loud, bombastic, and well, this isn't really three words, but over the top.
over the top. I see 80s extravaganza, like the
The
ultra
yuppies.
wealth. Yeah, I mean, I remember as a kid watching like the lifestyles of the rich and famous, which they show a little bit of that in here. I think I actually seen the episode where they showed his boat when I was young. Um, I remember just this movie is the excess of the 80s, right? Like there was
Yeah.
some really low times, but some people were really living it up in the 80s, and obviously Jordan Belfort was one of those people.
He was
So,
able to exploit the poor folks to live that life, you know?
yeah, I mean, so it's a rated R. It's 3 hours long, as we said, made in 2013. Uh, only cost $100 million in 2013 to make, which I thought was fairly cheap for
Yeah, considering who's in it and the
yeah,
different locations it seems like and the props. I mean, all that
yeah.
stuff.
Uh, Grossed 407 worldwide, so it definitely made its money back.
Big
Um,
movie. It was
uh,
probably one of the bigger movies of that year, if I remember correctly.
oh, I'm sure it was.
Yeah.
You got Jordan Belfort played by Leo, um, Donnie played by Jonah Hill. I think he does a magnificent job in that character.
And these
Uh,
are people, these are based on real people.
yes, all these
Yeah.
now Naomi, Margot
Yeah.
Robbie, her
Margot
her
Robbie.
introduction to to the big screen, the big name.
Oh yeah.
People know her now, but when this movie came out, they didn't.
No, that bathtub scene.
Yeah, um, the yeah, that this her whole thing in this movie. She's
The Duchess.
the Duchess, right? So,
Yes.
and Agent Denham, Kyle Chandler. I think he's probably best known for Friday Night Lights, the TV show.
I was wondering where I
Yeah,
seen him before whenever he looks a lot like the guy that's in Office
he
Space.
does. He Kyle Chandler also plays um, a guy on Grey's Anatomy, and my wife watches it a lot. And this guy gets shot with a cannon missile, and they're trying to pull it out of his body, and he's like a specialist, and he pulls it out, and he's walking down the hallway, and it explodes and blows him up.
That's pretty sick.
And me and my wife had this argument when she watched it. She watched it religiously when that time was around. Um, that I thought he was the guy from The Office
Yeah,
Space,
what is his name? I'm gonna look him up real quick. Hold on.
but they look a lot alike. They are not the same guy.
Yeah, dude, they could be brothers,
Yeah,
100%. I mean, without a doubt. His name's Ron Livingston, and he's also in
but
Band of Brothers.
they are not the same guy, even though they look like it.
Right.
So
But anyway, back to the Wolf of Wall Street. I just
no,
happened to
you're
think
right.
about that guy. And
I
he
did
did
too.
it every time I see him. I'm like, that's the guy from Office Space. And Chris is like, no, it's not.
It's
It's
not. Yeah,
not
they're
him
two different
because
people.
he's in another movie that just come out on Netflix with Jamie Foxx and Cameron Diaz. I can't remember the name of it.
We
Um,
also got another movie. We covered the Adam Sandberg movie that had
Christina
Christina
Milioti.
Milioti in it. She's
Yeah,
also in this movie. Plays Jordan's first wife. So a lot of doubles in this movie.
that's where he should have stayed.
Yeah, for sure. Um, but as we kind of talk about this thing broke the Guinness Book of World Records for most swear words per minute when it came out.
That's
Yeah,
awesome, dude. The F word is
608. They say the F word 569 times in this movie,
well,
with
wow.
a average of 3.8 swear words per minute. 681 swear words in this movie.
It's pretty sick. Uh, I would say, like, just in that beginning scene, whenever he comes out with like his orange juice and like he's like taking all of his like Xanax and his
Yeah,
mood stabilizers and back pills and stuff, I think he says the F word like 10 times just in that monologue.
yeah.
First
Uh,
thing in the morning.
Apparently, they were snorting crushed vitamin B when they were doing coke, snorting
That's
coke.
tight.
So,
I wouldn't want to snort nothing, dude. I'd be like, nah, I don't want to do those scenes.
and
You know?
there's an iconic scene where Matthew McConaughey's beating his chest.
Do, do.
Apparently, that was completely improvised, but it carries throughout the movie. By the end of the movie, Jordan's doing it as well. Um, I'm not leaving.
He's rallied his troops
Yeah.
and
So
he pretty much puts the nail in the coffin for his case then.
yeah, and the only other little tidbit I got was the first cut of this movie was 4 hours long.
Golly.
There's no telling what's on the cutting room floor. There's been a groundswell to have Scorsese release his director's cut, but it has not happened yet. 4 hours is a long movie. That
Yeah, dude.
needs an intermission for sure.
Whenever we watched it this time, I had to like stop it pretty much. I had to watch it over 2 days.
Yeah.
I mean, I did. One, because of the kids were here, and I couldn't watch that movie around the kids. So I was like, I gotta watch this when I go to bed, you know?
It's
So
it's weird because you're wearing the same clothes as 2 days ago then.
ain't that wild, dude? This is the only thing I wear. It's the only thing I wear, man. It's my
Um,
uniform. You look nice too.
oh yeah.
Love that hat.
It's my Yankees, but it's in Kentucky blue.
It's pretty
So
sick. Pretty
um
sick.
so we can dance around it, but Margot Robbie probably etched her name in the stars of Hollywood with that one scene of her walking out.
Oh, they
Um,
played that so many times in cameos and stuff.
it's just um, it's an iconic scene. Yes, she is completely naked, um, and
Except
that's
for bath bubbles.
no. I'm talking about when he
Oh
goes
yeah,
over her house and she walks around the corner
that
and
is
she's
true.
just standing there. So, yeah, that and the teddy bear scene with the where she's telling him that
He's like, I
she's
got a
mad at
camera
him.
in there.
Yeah.
Wave at the security guards.
So, I think this is probably our generation's basic instinct. I know my parents' generation would talk about how uh crazy that movie was with all the pushing the boundaries. I think this movie kind of compares to that
Yeah,
for
it
our
does.
generation.
It's
So,
wild the whole way through. I mean, they've got prostitutes in the damn
oh yeah,
office, elevator acts going on with
yeah,
between coworkers, and it's like a pretty like it's over the top. Like I was in the beginning, it's just excess at its best. You know, like there's a scene. Leonardo DiCaprio's dad is like his manager or his handler more
yeah,
or less, so he doesn't kind of go off the rails. Well, him and Jonah Hill, and I think the other guy, the one that wears the toupee, he's
yep.
in there with him. I can't think of his name off the top of my head, but they're in there and they're like just hanging out. And his dad busts in the door and he's like thousands. I can't remember the exact amount. He's like $43,000 for dinner, and he's like,
You got the
"Oh,
sides. Tell him
you
about the
got
sides.
the sides." Yeah, he like snaps on him, and I'm like, could you imagine like a whole year's salary for some people at one?
In the 80s, that was two people's year's salary.
Oh yeah, that was $200,000 in the 80s.
Yeah, for
I
sure.
mean, insane. Just and then like him just totally destroying that Lamborghini Countach.
Oh man, when I was a young kid in elementary school, um, it would be book fair day, man, and I'd have my $5 my mom and dad gave me to go get a book, and I'd be staring up at the wall with that
Posters, man.
poster with that exact
The
Lamborghini on it, just
Countach, that's
dreaming.
big time for you. See, my age was like the Ferrari F40, but that car for your
Yeah.
age was like the top. That
Oh
and there
yeah.
was like another car, but yeah, that
The
Lamborghini,
the Ferrari he had at the beginning of this movie was
yes,
the other car. It
the
was either
Miami Vice.
yeah, the Miami Vice Ferrari or that Countach. The thing about that Countach, and I'm kind of a car head, and they got it right in this movie, is when they imported those cars, they didn't meet the safety standards of the
Mhm.
United States, so they had to put these big bubbly uh, bumpers on the front of them. And in this
Yeah.
movie, it's like that. They had that on there when he's driving it and when it's parked, even when it's destroyed. But they originally, like, if you bought one of those now and had it imported, you don't have to have that bumper on there anymore
Oh,
because it's
it's just
low.
flat and flush now.
Yeah, but back then, when it was a new car, it had to have that on there to meet the safety standards of that time. So,
European models.
well, Scorsese does a great job covering some stuff that was going on in the 80s at this time. Like he was working on greed and corruption, talking about that throughout this movie, how um, the money hungry become corrupt. Obviously, Jordan did that. He started out pretty humble,
Yeah, he did. Yeah.
but his greed to be more wealthy and more wealthy made him more corrupt, right? I feel like that's kind of a overarching theme of this movie,
Hmm.
along with the American dream, right? Like
Right.
it's quintessential. You went from nothing to having everything. That's what we're
Yeah.
fed and
Yep.
we're asked to
That's the American dream is to have all these possessions. You know, like
yeah,
he had the car and he had the huge mansion and
the boat
all
with a helicopter on
the
it. And
boat, yeah, that yacht, you know, just insane. But just also the coming with that, living in excess, was he was a drug addict. He was an
yeah,
alcoholic. He was a womanizer. He was unfaithful to his wife and his family. He about kills himself over and over and over again, just being stupid. I mean, throughout the whole movie. So it's like that recklessness, you know.
yeah, I think that's this he did Scorsese does a great job showing the consequences of that kind of greed and power, right? That's
Hmm.
uh and we covered Scorsese's Departed. Uh it deals with a lot of consequences from power
Yeah,
and not necessarily being rich, but the power of law enforcement and government
right.
in The Departed. So it's kind of a central
He's
theme
definitely
that he
really good at
uses
the cops and robbers theme, I guess you'd
for
call it.
sure.
You know, pretty much is
Yeah.
what you kind of summarize it down to.
But his style's all over this movie, right? I mean, obviously it's a Scorsese
Yeah.
movie, but like we covered Departed and the conversational um spots and everything. It's not high action, but there's action involved, right? Like you feel like you watch an action movie, but there wasn't a car chase or
No,
a shootout or none of that stuff. But it's
right.
so fast paced, you feel like it's a action movie. That's kind of I felt like that in The Departed. I feel like that with this movie as well. There's nobody getting shot, but it feels
I
like it
think
ought to be an action movie.
also the dynamic with the Wolf of Wall Street, like you do see like his rise, right? Like you see
Yeah,
him like rise and then he kind of messes up and his you see his psychology totally change whenever he kind of meets Margot Robbie or Margot
yeah.
Robbie's character. Like he's like, oh,
No,
I'm better than what I have at home because I'm doing
yeah,
this now. And he does that by getting away with it, kind of having his cake and eating it too for a while until
yeah.
he messes up and his wife catches him. And he kind of has this little moment of humbling, but it doesn't affect him in a sense to change his trajectory.
I mean, I don't know Jordan Belfort, the real person, but the way they framed this in this movie, it was that I felt like he wanted to get caught, right? I
Yeah,
mean, he pulled up with her, coked out of his mind, just
right.
doing blow off of her
She's
chest.
half naked. Yeah,
Yeah, outside of his apartment, right? Or I guess it was a condo.
right.
But I mean, you want to get caught at that point.
Well, that's what I was trying to kind of get to is like even when he got caught with his money laundering scheme. He
Yeah,
he kept on going because he was tired. It's almost like he got to a point where he was tired of running from all of his problems, right?
yeah,
So it shows that scene of him and like, towards the end, it shows that scene of him and Margot Robbie, Naomi, his wife, and they're going through all these legal battles. He's having like telling his
yeah,
friends, and it's just ripping his heart out.
yeah,
And he's like, "We're gonna be okay. I want to do some time." And she's like, you pretty much see like him hit rock bottom because she's like, I'm not gonna be here when you get out. I can't be
yeah,
here. And she kind of like gives him like a parting gift sex.
yeah.
And she's
That's the
like,
last time.
yeah, and you can just see his face. Like he's just like all of the pretty much all of the joy in life, like leave him then. It's finally hit him that he's lost everything
But
and he's
let's
gonna have to go back up.
but in quintessential American style, he made all his money through all his corrupt way. He gets 3 years in a
Yeah.
minimum
Playing
security prison,
tennis, like a
playing tennis.
spa.
Probably had to pay some fines. I'm sure he didn't have to give all that money back.
No, because they probably used him to help them catch other people.
Yeah, I'm
You
I
know,
and I haven't looked it up, but I know since he's been out, he's been doing a lot of public speaking. He goes to does
his
like sales
books,
stuff. He made
podcasts.
yeah, he's probably made enough money to be completely fine
Yeah,
even
yeah.
without
Even
all
paying
that.
the
So
restitution back and losing everything. He's
um,
was able also in this great country. We do live in. He's able to probably file bankruptcy on a lot of stuff.
yeah, and I'm
And
sure he
clear all
made
that
some money
up.
off this movie, right? If they're
Oh,
gonna,
he got
it,
paid a certain amount to tell his like life story and let it be out there.
hell, he's in the movie at the end.
Yeah, yeah.
Um,
Sell me this pen.
yeah, so
Sell me this pen, T Cat.
so just to one of some of the cinematic deals that I liked when Jordan's on drugs, and if you go back and watch it, whenever he's actually on drugs because this is told through Jordan's lens, right? The camera work starts getting real shaky and very spastic. When he's sober, it's real consistent. It's
Yeah, he's good at what
real
he
good.
does.
But when he starts taking drugs, everything starts going crazy. The cameras switch angles, they switch people real fast. It shakes a
Oh,
little
I didn't
bit,
even notice
like
that.
you like it kind of makes you feel
Erratic.
uneasy. Yeah,
Yeah.
even as
Erratic.
a
Kind of how you'd
watcher.
be in
So
your own head, just freaking
right.
out.
So I thought that was a really nice touch. Um,
Yeah, and
I,
also you saying that reminds me of probably my favorite scene of the movie is whenever him and Jonah Hill are taking right before he wrecks the Lamborghini,
yeah,
they're taking the like the 10-year-old Quaaludes, the lemons, and
the
he's like,
lemons.
"Oh, these are duds." And they keep taking them, and they keep
Yeah,
taking them. So he leaves and goes to the country club to make that phone call because his whole house is tapped. And Jonah Hill's at home with his wife, eating like cold cuts, and he ends up choking on a piece of like
Oh,
gabagool or
ham.
ham or something. And
Something, yeah.
he ends up like saving his life because he uses cocaine to get himself back up. And he's like, "I'm the strongest man alive." Just just wild, dude. Almost
So
loses his best friend choking on ham.
I think Leo did a great job in this movie. And I'm gonna be honest with you, I haven't seen too many movies where I thought, he didn't do a great
Right?
job.
Yeah, he usually kills it.
But I thought Jonah Hill, was probably up until this point really was known more as a comedy actor, kind of a goofball.
Yeah.
And
Did Moneyball come before this?
it may have, but even
Or
still
around
at
the
that
same
point,
time? Yeah.
yeah,
I think it's around the same time.
even still, you still thought about him as, the fat guy in
Super bad.
Superbad,
Yeah.
or the guy in the hot dog costume and Accepted. Those
Accepted, dude.
those
I forget
those,
about that movie.
those kind of roles.
Yeah.
But I
Dewey
think he
Cox,
did,
Dewey
yeah,
Cox, his brother.
yeah. I think he did an exceptional job.
Yeah, he did play that
Um,
guy. Those horn
that
rim glasses.
and the raspiness of that dude.
Yeah.
Um, and I'm guessing that's based off of a real guy. I
It
did a bit
it
of
is.
research to
It's a
find
real
out.
guy. It is.
Uh,
Donnie Azoff was his name, or it is his name. He's still alive, I think. I think he did some time too. I'm not sure how long, but I think all of them kind of went down. Yeah,
well,
he's still alive. He's just hanging out. He's out of prison and all that stuff. He's probably making money too.
so I don't know how much more time we got here,
We're
Josh.
we're kind of about 5 minutes left. If
All right,
I
well,
was going to look up how much Jordan Belfort had to pay back real quick because it
that's fine.
says
I'm gonna go over these Google reviews. I got a couple of them here, and then we can give our reviews after you do
he had
that.
to pay real quick. He had to pay. He had 22 months in federal prison, 1 month in rehab, and then $110 million in restitution was his criminal penalty.
$122 million feels like he didn't give away his whole stash of
No,
money.
Lord, no. He had money in Switzerland and stuff like the movie.
So I got this one here. It says, seriously, one of the worst movies I've ever seen, and I'm not hard to please when it comes to movies. I couldn't make it past the hour mark. I can't imagine 2 more hours of this nonsense. Nothing but yelling the F word, snorting drugs, and naked people. I don't usually mind movies having cuss words in them, but this was over the top, and the movie had literally no plot. Guy learns to sell stocks, makes a bunch of money. Not interesting. Enough to fill 20 minutes, much less 3 hours. I'd give it 0 stars if I could. 1 star.
Zero.
Well,
Golly.
Jessica, I think if you would have stuck in, you would have got the plot of the movie. But that's
It's a
it.
true story.
Yeah. All right. On the other side, we got best movie ever. Jordan Belfort is my hero. Because of this movie, I've started taking copious amounts of illegal drugs. I've been on the search for lemons for about 8 years. I've sent Margot Robbie managing team emails about 800 times asking her to recreate that scene for me. Hopefully, the scene in the limo at the airport. However, I would be okay with her yelling at me like the scene where Jordan takes his daughter. I've also looked into the penalty for pump and dump schemes and frauds as shown in this movie, and I can say that I'm considering it. I would love nothing more than to adopt the lifestyle of Jordan Belfort. Martin Scorsese is an absolute genius and deserves every single award ever for this movie. I'm still in astonishment as to how they got this many big names for a movie. Leo, Martin, Margot, Jonah, Matthew McConaughey, and everyone else are all phenomenal at their job and should be getting recognition for this absolute masterclass of a movie. 5 stars.
I did hear a little satire in that, but I think he
Yeah,
really liked the movie. He was into it, or he or
yeah,
she, I guess he was into it.
it was a him for sure.
He was into it for sure.
Well, what about you? What about your rating? We heard from
I'm
the ones and fives.
I'm coming in about right in the middle. I like the movie. Like I said, LDC. It's a fun movie. It's not something that I would watch all the time. It's maybe a once or twice a year movie just to revisit. It's a good buddy movie, like because
Mhm.
there's so much to talk about, and it's all cool dude stuff. Like dudes like all that stuff.
Yeah,
You
it's
know,
dudes being dudes for
it's
sure.
kind of like you living like able to live like vicariously without like partaking in that filth, yourself. So that's kind of nice. But I want to give it a 3.3.
3.3. I'm a
So
well, that is kind of fine by me.
kind of fine by me, kind of right in the middle, a little over middle. Like I said, I
Mm.
like it. It's something good if you wanted to put in, turn down low, and kind of take a nap too. You could just like listen to the screaming. Like I like this chaos.
Well, I'm right there with you. I'm a 3.8. I'm on the higher end of kind of fine by me. I think it's a great cinematic movie. I think Scorsese does a great job. He's probably one of my favorite directors. Um, I'm with you. I'm watching it maybe once or twice a year. Sometimes I watch it because I'm in sales and it kind of gets me hyped up
Oh,
to
for sure.
to go down that road.
Chase that dollar.
Uh,
Yeah.
to if you need that kind of encouragement. There are better movies for that. This isn't the best movie ever made, but it's close to being really far up there. So 3.8 for me, kind of fine by me. I really like it. I think the cast did a great job. I would recommend this to anybody who asks me about it. Hey, what do you think about The Wolf of Wall Street? Watch it, man. It's good
Check it out.
for sure.
You might be the next Wolf of Wall Street yourself.
Yeah, I'm gonna right after we get done with this, I'm gonna go on Robinhood and I'm gonna buy a bunch of penny stocks, I think, see what happens.
Well, I might get on there and buy a bunch and then dump them. What is it called? Pump and dump?
Bump and dump. That's what it's
Pump and
called.
dump. I'm gonna get online. I'm gonna share. I'm gonna use this platform just to share our stocks and our stock ideas, just so I can run it up and sell it.
Well, the thing we need these guys to do is tell us if you like the way we did it this time or you like the way we did it last time better. Do you have movies you want us to review? We can put on the wheel to see what happens.
Yeah, we'll take any recommendations. Like,
Yeah,
I mean, if you want different
anything.
styles, if you like just the storytelling, if you like a more of an outlined format, we can probably get more technical than this if we really wanted to. Just
Yeah,
might have
for
to tighten
sure.
it up a little bit. But I mean, there's definitely uh, lots of different ways to do it, and we always need new movie recommendations. So,
Yeah, I think we have about 40 on our list, which
yeah.
I mean they'll probably take us 2 years to get through at this rate.
But there are a lot of
But
comedies and kind of like, so if
yeah,
it's
for
something
sure.
different, yeah, send us something different, something kind of out of left field that you like,
For sure. If you
and we'll
want
check it out.
yeah, I would love for there to be a situation where it's a movie neither one of us know and we both
Hmm.
have to watch it and talk about it. That'd be great.
Yeah,
Um,
for sure. Well, I guess that's a review.
yeah, I really appreciate this one. This was a good time. Um, we're we're gonna need y'all to like and subscribe for sure.
Comment
Tell
too.
us how
I
we
want to
did.
hear
Comment
everything.
if you hate
Yeah.
it. Tell us you hate it. Just
Yeah, man. If
I
you
hate
don't
this
like my
movie.
shirt like Travis don't, then you can tell me. Thank y'all for listening. We'll
Thanks,
see you next
guys.
time.
Appreciate it.